Hello, children. Today we are going to learn the poem Goodbye Party for Miss Pushpa T.S. by Nissim Ezekiel. Do you find the title of the poem little peculiar? Are you getting an idea about what the poem is going to be? Yes. So it's the goodbye party, farewell party. And for whom? It's for Miss Pushpa T.S. What is that T.S.? It is the initial, right? So it's the goodbye party for Miss Pushpa T.S. by Nissim Ezekiel. Now we have to know a little bit about the author. It was written by Nissim Ezekiel, one of India's foremost Indo-Anglian poets. He was born in 1924 and was educated in Mumbai and London. He produced several volumes of verse and plays and was an art critic. Ezekiel died in 2004 at the age of 79. Now, he was a Marathi-speaking Jewish Indian English poet who studied in Mumbai, retired as professor of English at University of Bombay. His verse collection includes Time to Change, 60 poems, The Unfinished Man, Hymns and Darkness, etc. He was the winner of Sahitya Academy Award in 1983. So this is about our poet. And this is about the poem Goodbye Party. And this is taken from his collection Hymns and Darkness. And this is a type of poem where he has included little humor. And this is a free verse poem having no rhyme schemes, no meter, and no literary devices. But the sole purpose is to convey that the very English speaking way of Indian people. As you know that English is a foreign language. We have to talk English in the way British people speak, but we cannot do that because our vernacular effect is so strong that our dialect is different. It is sometimes ungrammatical. So he is focusing on these aspects and making it is very hilarious while explaining or conveying the ideas in this poem. So this is a parody. What do you mean by a parody? It is like an imitation of, a commoner speaking English language. And satire. What do you mean by satire? It's like a human mistakes are ridiculed. So he is trying to mock a little about the way English is spoken by most of the Indians. The habit of using present continuous tense instead of simple present tense in many times in their conversation. And this is in the form of a dramatic monologue. That means the entire conversation is by one person, a lengthy speech by one person. So that is what we are going to see in this poem. Let us check the poem. Friends, our dear sister, is departing for foreign in 2-3 days, and we are meeting today to wish her bon voyage. So what do you mean by bon voyage? Happy travel, happy journey. And it is the French word. The pronunciation is bon voyage. Friends, so whom is he calling friends? The colleagues. He is calling the colleagues friends. That is an Indian way of doing. And again, he is addressing to his colleague, our dear sister. So there is no need to call a colleague sister or brother, but that is again our Indian way of addressing. Our dear sister is departing for foreign. So he can say that leaving for foreign, right? So he is telling departing for foreign in 2-3 days. That is also Indian way of telling. 2 3 days, in 2 or 3 days, or in a short while, or in the next week. But instead of that, he has told in 2 3 days. And we are meeting today to wish her bon voyage. Now, you are all knowing, friends, what sweetness is in Miss Pushpa. So again, we are using present tense, present continuous tense. You are all knowing. No need of saying that. You all know, right? You are all knowing, friends, what sweetness is in Miss Pushpa. I don't mean only external sweetness, but internal sweetness. So, by the very sweetness, the speaker wants to convey that Miss Pushpa is a very courteous and polite person with a lot of humility. The good qualities he wanted to exaggerate. All those exaggerations will come in one single word, the sweetness, internal sweetness and external sweetness. So he wanted to say that she is very good character. Miss Pushpa is smiling and smiling, even for no reason, but simply because she is feeling. So the speaker is telling that Miss Pushpa keeps smiling, that is her character. So smiling and smiling, repeatedly saying, even for no reason, but simply because she is feeling. So generally, genuinely, she is happy, so she keeps a smiling face. That's what the actual intention, but he is using in present continuous tense. Miss Pushpa is coming from a very high family. Her father was a renowned advocate in Valsar or Surat. I'm not remembering now which place. So here the speaker is telling that Miss Pushpa is coming from very high family. So what is a high family? Renowned family, popular family, famous family, affluent family. So he can use all those words which are appropriate, yet he did not use that. He has used a very simple word, a colloquial word, high family. His father was a renowned advocate in Valsar or Surat. Now he is telling about Pushpa's father, who he was, where he was working, and he is unable to recollect where exactly he had worked. So what is happening here? It's like he's digressing from the topic. The intention of having a meeting over there was to give a farewell party to Miss Pushpa. So you have to talk more about her and his acquaintance with her. But ultimately, what is happening is he is diverting from the main topic and he is going and he keeps on talking about Miss Pushpa's father, where he had worked, and he's telling that I'm not remembering now which place. I don't remember. That is what he has to use. But he is again using present continuous tense. I'm not remembering now which place. Now he's telling Surat. Ah, yes. Once only I stayed in Surat with family members of my uncle's very old friend. His wife was cooking nicely. This is the typical way of conversation we can expect from moderately educated people in India. Once only, that only is coming unnecessarily there. Once only I stayed in Surat with family members of my uncle's very old friend. So he is getting connection with a distant relative of him where he had stayed and he still remembers because the uncle's wife had cooked a very nice food. His wife was cooking nicely. Again, present continuous. So this shows that the wayward mind of the speaker. He is unprepared to give a speech for the occasion. It's like his mind is wavering. He's not staying at one place. It's going away from the focus and talking about a distant relative where he had stayed and that the wife used to cook very nice food. Now, coming back to Miss Pushpa, she is the most popular lady with the men also and ladies also. Is there any need of using that also there? No need. We can say that she is popular among everyone. because of her virtues or qualities, behavior, character. She is having a very good behavior which made her popular. Instead of telling that, he is telling that she is most popular lady with the men also and the ladies also. Now, whenever I asked her to do anything, she was saying, just now only I will do it. So the speaker is telling that whenever I had asked her to do anything, she would say, just now only I will do it. Instead of saying that, he could have said that Miss Pushpa was ready to do the given job. I appreciate her readiness and willingness in doing the job. That would have better surfaced that occasion. But he told, Miss Pushpa was saying, again, past continuous, just now only I will do it. That is showing good spirit. I'm always appreciating the good spirit. Just telling that I appreciate her readiness or willingness or good intentions or good spirit. He's telling that I'm always appreciating. Again, present continuous tense. Miss Pushpa is never saying no. So what he would have told is Miss Pushpa never hesitates to do any given job. Whenever I or anybody is asking, she is always saying yes. I guess I don't need to explain this. You can easily guess it. And today she is going to improve her prospect and we are wishing her bon voyage. Now today she goes in search of her fortune to a foreign land and let me take it as a pleasure to wish her the best. And we wish her the bon voyage. That would have been kind of standard way of saying. Instead, he is using present continuous tense more frequently, making it so monotonous and hilarious too. Now, I ask other speakers to speak, and afterwards, Miss Pushpa will do summing up. Telling that now I have done my speech. Now I request others to speak a few words about Miss Pushpa. After that, we would like to hear from Miss Pushpa as well. Instead of telling that, he had used the words. Now I ask other speakers to speak, and afterwards, Miss Pushpa will do summing up. So here, this is an Indian attitude. Whenever somebody is retiring or going away, or just if one person wants to give an opinion about others, they will exaggerate so much so that it will be just like a flattery of words. Lot of words in appreciation of them. That is one analysis. So no need of doing that. You just have to be, you can be very assertive and to the matter of, to the point of, um, uh, you know, to the point. You can tell the facts to the point. As a matter of fact, you can tell. You don't have to, we generally say that use the flattery words to please someone. You don't have to do that. So that is one point we have to learn from this. Here the speaker is trying to use lot of flattery words because she is going away. He wants her to go away very happily, getting all the good remarks. You can put forward all the good remarks in different way instead of using all these sugar-coated words, right? Yeah. So, and as I told you, this is a hilarious poem, and there are no literary device as such, but we can have more analysis on this in the class. And development of thought. The occasion is the farewell party being hosted by a group of friends to Miss Pushpa, who is going abroad. Use of grammatically incorrect and inappropriate phrases and expressions mark the poem, bringing the outrageous use of English by the native speakers departing for foreign, all knowing friends, coming from very high family. So as I told you, English is a foreign language that needs to be spoken in the way it is. We are trying, we are developing the habit of it, but this was kind of outrageous. What do you mean by outrageous? It's like exceeding the limit. Now, The other aberrations are incorrect use of tense. Aberrations means deviations. Those are the aberrations, incorrect use of tenses. His wife was cooking nicely. She was saying, that is showing, is never saying no. So present continuous tense. And the attitude of the speaker is reflected through his conscious effort at styling the language and flattering tone of the speech, suggesting a hypocritical and sham personality. If a person is very truthful, he does not have to use any flattery word. You can tell on the face whatever you feel. If you are using flattery word, he is hypocrite. Hypocritical way, that means saying something and doing something else, contrary to what your deeds and words are. That is hypocrisy. So you cannot be like that. Now, Miss Pushpa, although depicted as a pleasing personality, is not without a pretentious manners reflected through the speaker's line. Miss Pushpa is never saying no. Whatever I or anybody is asking, she is always saying yes. So you cannot say yes all the time. You have to learn to say no at times. So here, Miss Pushpa is also kind of having a pretentious attitude. The party ends with the summing up and the concluding remarks made by Ms. Pushpa after the speaker invites her and other members to the dais. So the tone of the poem here is very humorous, although sarcasm is also included, devoid of stingy bitterness. So we have avoided being very stingy, bitter words to ridicule. Okay, though sarcasm was used. Sarcasm is fine, humorous tinge of humor is fine, but it is not having the mockery, which is not correct. Thank you, children. I hope you enjoyed the poem. We shall analyze further in the class. Thank you.